Team Fortress 2 is a rare kind of game. Put simply, it perfected a balance between high-stakes action and a kind of mindless fun. Growing up, this formula had me by the neck, so I took every chance I could to play it, which wasn't often. It was made for PC, and for a period of my life when I was strictly Team Green, I was beginning to lose hope. Then one day, after swim practice, I remember seeing an ad in the local paper for an upcoming FPS. It was probably warning parents about the tidal wave that was about to hit the market, because this thing had everything I was looking for. Something that had character with moments to keep you on the edge of your seat, and all the bullshit in between. And right there in my swimming trunks, I decided to blow all of my pocket money on the game as soon as it came out on Xbox. It just so happened to be released 1 month later. You're watching Layton, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how Overwatch took the spotlight, somehow lost it all, and why, after all that's changed, that old charm is still somewhere beneath the surface.
I made a chronal accelerator. I'm sure I can do this.
Overwatch Origins Edition included everything you'd need to get started with the game. Weapons, characters, abilities, all of it was available to anyone who'd gotten past the menu, and for your struggles they even threw in a few free skins. The concept was fundamentally straightforward. 2 teams of 6 took turns coming up with different ways to break through the opposing team's defenses. The charm of Overwatch was that there were no limits as to how you'd go about this. It's clear the devs had creativity in mind throughout production, with certain abilities encouraging creative uses. Sure, a more carefully thought out team composition would be more likely to succeed over whatever this is, and yet, all this contributed to building that atmosphere that worked. Every hero, despite the public's consensus, had an enormous amount of thought put into them, making their interactions with allies, the environment, or you the player so much more satisfying. Because of synergic abilities, working together would actively reward you. But also, if you threw the match to Camp Deadeye, I did that. That was me, by the way.
Wait, I gotta get 5 kills straight!
It's like this one. Okay.
Play of the game took a snapshot of the game's best moments. I'll always be grateful for Play of the Game because not only did it incentivize little me to record a game I loved dearly, well, I thought it was pretty fun. And apparently, the rest of the world agreed. It's clips like these that launched Overwatch's YouTube influence. And I was hooked. Shortly after I learned the ropes, I decided Seagull's 1-minute match was my next milestone. So I remember tuning into Slimcicle's Inside the Mind series to elevate my gameplay. I didn't get much better at Overwatch, but these videos led me to a slightly smaller corner of YouTube which seemed cooler. These guys wouldn't chase the meta or climb ranks or bitch over current balance changes. Instead, they'd laugh at them, and in doing so focus on what drew me to the game in the first place. As with any newly mainstream game, there was a lot of exaggerated slop, but honestly, for what it's worth, Overwatch attracted some extremely talented fans. I'm talking about the animation scene. Remember those Codebreaker channels deciphering Sombra's ARG? Hell, Daddy Jeff's paternal relationship with the players, and let's not forget gun songs. No, wait, I swear these are cool. All this and much more built a community, bar none. Overwatch put itself into the limelight time and time again with some of the best community interaction around. It felt like there was an electricity to the game that nothing else had. New heroes, new maps, reworked mechanics. I'm not sure exactly when it happened, but the updates that kept the ball rolling began to be more tuned for a calculated playstyle. I think to cover all the bases, Blizzard wanted the momentum and excitement of regular releases, while keeping the balance that could be advertised to the competitive crowd. But as the framework that held the game together was stretched further and further apart, eventually, it snapped.
Brigida, Vegeta.
The competitive scene had issues. in order to increase profits, Blizzard shifted towards a different demographic. And honestly, I can't blame them. When you had something as big as Overwatch was, of course you'd want it to stay relevant, and so they used events like the League and New Heroes to bring up those ratings. The problem was, to hype up the next big hero, they'd make them objectively stronger, throwing off the balance temporarily while devs adjusted them to better fit the game. And with each release being stronger than the last, each balance took longer to figure out. As these changes bled into casual play, the game dulled down into something else. For this reason, I don't think competitive play ever spoke to me. Also because I sucked at it and it would shove it in my face, but if the relentless arms race made even the casual games awkward, there wasn't anywhere to go for that. Wait, hang on. What is this? Oh. It turns out Overwatch had a lot more to offer than just quick and competitive play. Seasonal events paved the way for plenty of new game modes, and later with the introduction of arcade, there was now a plethora of alternative rule sets for you to play around with. You could brace the intensity of a mirrored 1v1, team up for a 3v3 tactical fighting deathmatch, or relish in the chaos of completely randomized heroes, and much, much more. Every time these new mechanics and events dropped, the game felt new. Suddenly, everyone was back to square one and figuring out all the ways the game was bugged. For the average player, this was a godsend, and eventually they'd grow to be so popular they'd all be wrapped up and packaged in what I personally think was the most impactful addition to the game. Through the server browser, anything was possible and it was amazing. High Moon Lobby's Infinite Road Hook, 1000%. With all prior content available, Overwatch became a canvas and the players the artists. I mean, people were playing Pokemon with Overwatch characters, ganging up for boss fights. Modern Warfare's Infected even made a guest appearance. And the best thing about it was that all of it was available from a simple drop-down list in the menu and a few intuitively easy sliders. You see, growing up, I liked making things, so with how easy it was to configure your own games, all I'd do coming home from school was to try and design a match for me and my friends to have a blast on, leading to moments with friends who, for whatever reason, have now drifted apart, but moments I still cherish. And by some miracle, they're stored right here in my Xbox. As I briefly mentioned earlier, most of the footage you're seeing is the result of years of good fun, and rewatching these took me back to a time I'd forgotten about entirely. I moved schools, far away, at a pretty pivotal point in my life, and as sad as it sounds, something that made it just that little bit easier was knowing the life I'd left behind would still be online when I got home, just like any other evening, like it used to be. You'd make mediocre plays and then main that hero for a week, or be a part of stupid challenge runs and full stacks, and watch a YouTube scene which always delivered. If you're trying to relive some of the character of Overwatch, there's nothing that quite does it justice, like video game Dunkey's series on the game, so go and give it a watch sometime. Soon after Ash was released, I think life got in the way and I sort of moved on. And later, on October 4th, 2022, Blizzard killed Overwatch 1 in its entirety to start anew. Coming back to the game was interesting. I'm not sure what sold me. Maybe I just wanted to try out some of my favorite characters from back when I was a kid. But the more I played the modern Overwatch, the more it compelled me. After all the updates and re-releases, most of it is practically the same. The core modes still exist. I can't speak for the current state of comp, but the mechanics feel more creative. So when I combed through my footage, trying to find reasons that made Overwatch 1 better, I realized there wasn't one. There's something special about multiplayer competitive games. Play them enough and you'll begin to notice a unique phenomenon where the only goal is defied by glimpses of humanity. Come on, we've all had that unspoken bond with an enemy too curious to kill you, and in some cases the very people who are meant to help hurt the most. This, I think, is what makes Overwatch and the games like it great. Mechanics that leave just enough room for your imagination to run wild, and the behavior of players beyond what's expected of them. So if you haven't already, boot up that old Xbox and find your clips. Seeing that kid in swimming trunks develop through a series of subpar highlights has been sweet. And it brought me back to the friendships this game has made, exhilarating moments, and that feeling you'd get at the start of every match, that feeling when nothing else mattered.